every year these bodybuilders die in huge numbers. I mean, guys, heart attacks, kidney failure, all this stuff, guys, amputations. I know guys that I grew up with, looking up, is that most of them are dead. So happy to bring back our first repeat guest to the show, Mr. Ty Loethen. Welcome to the show, Ty.
Thank you, Gil. So happy to be here, man.
So nice to see you again. Ty is an NCAA All-American wrestler. He is also a master combat sports trainer and coach. I love that title,
Boom.
Ty.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, we had already had a discussion about things that affect fitness and health and motivation. And although most of my guests are, physicians and, otherwise recognized medical professionals, I consider what we're going to talk about today inextricably part of fitness and health and longevity and loving life. And if that ain't medical matters, I don't know what is.
I totally agree. I definitely feel I'm the healthiest when I'm the happiest, and I'm probably the happiest when I'm the healthiest.
Oh, I love that.
So I think that definitely, I totally agree with you. I don't know if I thought about that until right now.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I should trademark that.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Now, part of the reason we're having you back is not only did we have so much fun last time, but there's been some news and some really wonderful changes in your life trajectory since we last spoke.
There definitely is.
Please tell the audience what has happened.
So, okay, this is very exciting. Last we talked, I think I just came back from Romania. I placed 8th in the world in beach wrestling, which is the 3rd recognized sport by the UWW, so United World Wrestling. So there's Greco, there's freestyle, and now there's beach wrestling. Beach wrestling. And beach wrestling is basically you're wrestling in sand. And I think at first thought, a lot of people go, oh, that's it. That's a little different. But if you just go, well, wrestling's way older than rubber and mats.
Yeah, they wrestled in the sand, I'm sure.
In the ancient Olympics, right? And every country throughout history has had wrestling. So they've been wrestling in sand way longer than we've ever even thought about a mat. So in a lot of ways, it's a return back to the ancestors, the origin, the beginning of wrestling. And there are so many countries, folk styles, that really have a sand element to it still today. So
Senegal, we talked about Senegal beach wrestling and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, are the rules similar to freestyle or Greco-Roman?
They're definitely similar. I think the technical aspect goes a little more towards Greco. So the rules are actually pretty simple. I think there's a lot of good reasons why beach wrestling should be taking off, and I think it kind of is taking off is what I'm seeing. It's 1 point if you bring them to the sand, anything else but your hands and your feet. Okay, so knees, elbows, butt, anything but the back, because the back's a little bit more. Okay. But if you bring them to anything but their hands or their feet, that's a point. Okay, and if I push you out, right, then I also get a point. And then if I take you from our feet, throw you in the air, put you on your back, then I get 3 points. And a feet to back ends the bout.
Feet to back. Wait a minute. I'm thinking of pretzel here. You mean get your opponent's feet to their back?
Oh, so if we start on our feet, right? Yeah. If we were to start up standing.
Oh,
and then say you throw me through the air and put me on my back. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's probably what would happen. And then you would win.
So it's not a pin win. Do you have pins too?
They essentially count that as the pin.
That's the pin.
Yeah.
Okay.
That puts you in danger, right? You're in your back. Yes.
Okay, so you have been invited to the World Championships.
Yes.
So you're going to tour the world?
Yes.
Where are you going?
So this is pretty amazing. The World Series of Beach Wrestling is what it's called. Okay. And it's going to be, that has 5 locations starting May 10th and 11th, Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Okay.
And then June 10, 11, Singapore.
Okay.
June 29, 30, I'm going to say this bad, Saint Laurent du Var, France. Okay. And then we jump to September, and that's going to be back in Constanta, Romania.
Okay.
And then October in Mulga, Turkey.
Turkey, so that one might be a little cold. So I'm seeing the summer.
Yep,
The one in Turkey
and then
might be-
October. So yeah, it might be chilly. We'll see.
Now,
We'll see how that goes.
it's outside.
It is
right?
outside. Oh, one other thing with that, real
Yeah.
quick. So with those, that's in the World Series of Beach Wrestling. There's a unique event this year that's put on in conjunction with the International Olympic Committee, which is the Olympics, right? Who do summer, the Winter Olympics, and kind of takes care of all that. They're doing the ANOC, instead of calling it Olympic, it's called the ANOC Beach World Games. So it's going to be 20 different sports, like an Olympiad, but they're all beach-based sports. And only the top 8 in the entire world of all countries per weight class go. Currently, I'm 10th. If I do well at these next 2, I'll qualify for Bali, August 10 and 11. But I'll probably be there for 2 weeks and watch all the other sports like karate and surfing and skating and sand volleyball.
Volleyball. I was going to say volleyball. You've got to have volleyball.
Oh yeah. So that's cool. So
that's exciting.
Maybe another Olympic Games they're trying to spring up, but at least so that'll be very interesting. So that could happen as well.
Got you. So if it's raining, do you got to wrestle anyway?
Kinda.
Okay. Lightning.
Really good story.
Delay it,
Really good story. So the first day at Romania this past September, the first session got rained out, and it was the seas were crashing, and it was dark, and it was raining so much it was like up to your ankles while you're walking through the streets. So they canceled the very first session, but there were 2 sessions on the day 1. And we ended up having the second session, but it wasn't raining, but it was still cloudy and thundery and it was on the Black Sea. And that's like where historically, like my ancestors, the Vikings if they went eastward, they would have eventually made it there. I don't know if that exact beach, like in Romania, but like the Black Sea also touches Ukraine and everything else in that area.
Yeah.
So like that's an interesting battleground, and that was pretty cool. It kind of felt like a very special thing to almost have the storm instead of the pretty skies. You know?
I love it. So there's the nature involvement as well. So if people want to watch these tournaments, which would include you, where would they do this? I assume we could see them online, stream it somehow?
Yes, definitely. So I think there's a couple of places, but right now the simplest way to do it would be to go to beachwrestling.org.
Okay.
That's the UWW's official beach wrestling website. Okay. It has all the schedules, ways to stream, where they're at, all the details. If anyone wanted to fly and come watch, that'd be kind of cool.
Cool. So we'll have those links. We'll check those links and have them
definitely check those
at the
links.
bottom of the description of this podcast.
Yeah.
Now, do you have sponsors? How do you afford to fly around the world?
So, hey, great question. Most other countries fund their athletes, right? Generally speaking, USA doesn't fund its wrestling team. It comes from the independent sector, donors, or kind of what I did last year. I used it to incentivize myself to grow my own personal training, personal coaching business, and running camps, clinics, and seminars around the country to add that as a little piece to grow my own business. So almost like a 2-in-1. Well, I need to figure out a way to fund myself. Right. So if I can gear my business kind of towards that, how can I allow myself more time and build some funding? But to kind of jump on your sponsors.
It sounds to me in English, sounds to me like you're having to pay your way.
That's a big part of it. Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Okay, and you were going to say, so where else might you get some funding?
So I definitely think that there is potential businesses or other people that I could work with in the area. Last year I had a couple of individuals that own their own businesses kind of that I've worked with or trained with. They're like, yeah, here, let me be a private donor, a private sponsor. But this year, with it being a 6 tour spots, not just one.
Expensive plane flights.
It changes, and hotels and everything else. It definitely changes what I need to do and how I need to run that side of things. So of course, if there's anyone that I could help them and they could help me, right, with however that would work, I think definitely advertising, definitely merchandise, definitely anything like that. I'm very open to those things.
Gotcha. Now you do this generally just with shorts on. You're bare chested,
or
right?
even like spandex, almost like less. Yeah.
So you can't put the golfers. I know that I watched some golf yesterday, and they've got logos on tastefully on their shirts. So you're not gonna be able to Sharpie this on your chest or your back, right?
Not like that, but definitely if we were to put out some shirts or to warm up in, or to do merchandise to sell together or do events together, I think there's a lot of possibility. But that would be kind of funny. That I don't think it's in the rules that I can't.
Yeah,
I can't hashtag get Thai fit across my chest.
Get Thai fit.
Yeah,
That's right.
why not?
That's right. Because I also go to the gym with you, Ty. I see you occasionally at our gym, and you are getting leaner and meaner every time I see you, man. So clearly you're doing something here to get in shape, which leads me right into the next thing.
Yeah.
What is a typical day for Ty? I want to know what you're doing to train for this amazing event.
That's a great question. So
maybe there's a week, maybe you have a week schedule, maybe every day's a little different. Give me a feel for the day's events that you do to get fit and get ready for this.
So I definitely train at least twice a day every day, or at least 6 days a week.
What time do you get up?
That varies, but I would say within an hour of waking, I'm out the door getting ready to do something, whether it's going on a run, going to Wilson's or Crunch, or in my own personal gym, or going to the sand to work out. Or maybe I'm tired, so I need a yoga day because I took, a couple of heavy days in a row.
So what time does your alarm go off in the morning, Ty? I assume you have a
7 a.m.
7. So it's not a sick 4 a.m.
I don't know. I'd rather work at night. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm a huge believer in, going on a tangent, I'm a huge believer in if you feel the energy to do something, well, use that energy. Because that's not always there, right? Discipline's important, obviously, but sparks of creativity and motivation and insight happen whenever. I think last time we talked about in the showers, and I asked
I do my best
why are the
thinking
best
in the
things in the
shower.
shower? Well, man, I don't shower sometimes till 11 p.m. at the end of my practices, and I get this good idea. Well, I can stay up till 2 and wake up at 10 if it means I just got something done that was amazing.
Right. So let's get this straight. You're actually listening to your body. And I assume if you got really beat up on a workout or something, you would allow yourself some regenerative sleep.
You have to.
Thank you.
So I think it's the fitness triangle or health triangle. Maybe that's a better one.
Tell me the health triangle. I want to hear this.
So it's almost like A plus B plus C equals better, right? So we have to have the stimulus, right? We have the SAID principle, specific adaptation through induced demands. So we need to induce a demand that's going to make our body adapt the way we want. So whether it's a strength day, a technical day, a hard life practice, increase your endurance, the long run, whatever that is, let's choose that. Okay, I chose the stimulus. Well, the stimulus breaks the body down, which is good because it will adapt. But after it breaks it down, well, you used nutrients, you used energy, you broke down muscles and to repair with amino acids and protein and high quality nutrition. So we go the stimulus, which is like the fitness, the training, and then we go over here, which is the nutrition, right? So we go training, we go nutrition. But if you don't sleep or take maybe, if you're really beat up, an extra training session as an active recovery, well, you're still not going to get better. You need the recovery aspect. So it's training, nutrition, recovery.
Recovery.
A lot of times recovery, sleep, but if it's, I'll give you a good example. Today, my bicep is a little sore, and I noticed, and I was going into practice, and I was like, we're not going to be able to do a whole lot of live today, because if I go live and I overstrain this, I'm going to be out for 2 weeks instead of this bothering me for 4 days.
So you're listening to your body, Ty. You're not doing mindless abuse of your muscles and your joints and whatnot.
I so believe in that.
So you're keeping some flexibility.
So believe in that. So I think the better way, the way I build my training week is I go, well, I need to do technical application 6 times a week. That's what I'm doing. My sport is wrestling, grappling,
technical
beach
wrestling moves.
So that has to be first and foremost for me, right? So if you're in a different sport or have a different goal, then that may be different for you. But for me, that's 6 a week. Okay, so 6 out of 12, because I'll probably have 12 training sessions that are personal to me. Maybe take a day off if I'm doing it right.
So you take a Sabbath, as it were.
I try. I don't know if it always happens, but I do, because sometimes you get excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't have, but it's you have the option of a Sabbath day.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times I think it's Wednesday, which is a weird day. That just seems to be when it is.
That's fine.
So six technical practices with me, with myself, maybe a dummy if I can't get a partner, and then 6 non-technical practices. I like to do 2 strength. Okay. So now we're at 8, right? And those will be like compound lifts, bench, dead, squat, power clean, relatively low rep, high load, right? Because I think that's important.
Good form.
Oh yeah, very much.
Perfect
yeah.
form.
Well, if you did a training day and you got hurt, but you got hurt because of bad form, that was a terrible training day.
It was a we just moved
backwards.
decision.
Yeah, I'd rather just not put as much weight on the bar. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Super better, and keep it pretty. Tape yourself. You know what I mean? If you're alone.
Sure.
So then 8. Then 2 more are probably going to be a cardio based, a long run probably, even like a long term aerobic system. And then I'm going to do 2 more that are very specific to what I'm doing with wrestling. So like an acyclic type workout. You see me do a lot of functional stuff when I'm like with the cables. I mix a lot of cable band work with body weight work with the occasional heavy loaded explosive. So like I would go a kettlebell swing to a 1-foot pistol squat to a heavy front-loaded goblet squat. Like maybe that's a good pairing, and go bop, bop, bop. Because that's kind of what a match would be, right? It's like you got to move quick, control your body, control another, heavy load, and then fight again. So I try to recreate that the best I can.
So let's tease apart cardio a little more.
Yeah, let's do it.
They used to think you had to go for these long runs to get cardio. Then there's the people saying, no, if you lift weights real hard, these explosive exercises, it might be just as good. Do you feel like you have to do a little bit of both? Like maybe once a week you take a long run and combine it? What's your feeling about the cardio you need? Because if anybody's not aware of this, these matches are not short. They are long and just incredibly grueling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to have cardio.
You got to have it.
You've got to have cardio capacity.
Yeah.
Because even if you're technically good, if you gas in 2 minutes, you're going to lose.
Your technique's gone.
Your technique's gone.
Yeah.
So what's your feeling about cardio?
So I don't think you need to run super long distance every day, because I definitely see that that's hard on the joints, maybe not developing our type 2 muscles as much as we want, and maybe keying in too much on our type 1 or slow twitch. But at the same time, you need an aerobic capacity and ability to handle these long matches, and even harder, these long days. Because the way it works, it's not a normal. So in America, we do like a lot of straight bracketing, right? So say we have 8 people, you'll have each one has a match, right? And 8 goes to 4, 4 goes to 2, 2 goes to a champion, right? Like simple bracket. A lot of international stuff, they do grouping, kind of like soccer. Or football, right? They do grouping, so you do your group or your pool play. The pool play then crosses over to the bracketed play, and then you have like your double elimination round. So you may wrestle the same guy several times potentially, or maybe not.
So how many times will you wrestle? How many? I don't even know what you call it. Bouts?
Fights.
How many fights?
Fights. So in America we call them matches, but every other country says fight. So
I like that.
So we're gonna start saying fights.
It's fight. How many fights were you gonna? You go to Singapore. How many fights are you gonna have? Particularly if you're winning.
I was gonna say, if you win, you have more. You know what I mean? So keep winning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 potentially. 6, maybe 8, depending on how big a bracket would be.
And how long is a fight gonna last? 20 minutes?
So in this, probably like 3. So it's a little shorter, but it's grueling for 3 minutes. It's not like where maybe an MMA fight, because of the length, you kind of have a feeling out period. It is like, no, go.
It's pedal to the metal.
Yeah,
balls to the
it's
wall
a sprint
from the beginning.
Try to go sprint on a track for 3 minutes.
Oh, that's painful.
In sand. And
Like,
someone's trying to beat you up while you're trying to do that.
Dude,
that is what it feels like.
The most painful race was 800 meters.
That's the worst.
You
have to
sprint,
but it's a little too far.
Yet it's too far.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to sprint 2 laps.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's where the bad pain. I used to do more of the longer distance. But I can tell you the pain for 800 meters. So that's very telling on your psyche and your fitness level.
I did hurdles. I was pretty good at hurdles in high school. I did the 110s. They asked me to do the 300 hurdles once in high school, and I knew I didn't want to do it. I was cutting weight for freestyle and Greco state for wrestling, because track in high school is the same time as like freestyle and Greco season in high school. And it's like, well, I'm going to cut weight for wrestling, even if it means I don't do as good. And they're like, the one time they said, hey, you got to do the 300. We don't have anyone else. I'm like, I I don't know if I could sprint 300 hurdles. And
Right.
I think I was usually placing third-ish at most things in the 110s. I think I was like 10th or 11th in the 300s. I was like, nope, this is not my race.
Did your best, man.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
So let's say you enter this World Beach Wrestling thing, and let's say you win or you place, you get a medal. What happens after that? You just become more famous, and now you can open more wrestling and master coaching facilities. Is it fame that it gets you fortune? Because I assume there's not going to be $1 million purse or anything.
Yeah,
for
good
winning,
point.
'cause
Good point.
It's early in the
Yep.
in the life cycle of this sport.
So I don't know if that's what I think about for the goal, I guess. That's I need to think more about that. And I think you hit the nail on the head for, it just kind of furthers my career, increases my resume.
I mean, it can't hurt.
No, I think it's definitely going to help. I've certainly noticed since last year, the first time I was on Team USA, the first time I was competed internationally, was at a world championship, was the highest placing male American at this thing ever, which is really cool the first time I went. So all of that, I saw my business get more. I saw my camps get more. I've definitely a lot more confidence in myself. A lot of good positives. But I think the biggest thing is, so what did you play any other sports real quick?
Just in cross country and track.
When did you start?
Oh gosh, late elementary school, so junior high.
So I started
mainly.
wrestling at 5. My dad wrestled and was wrestling basically when I was born in college. My uncle Jeremy was very good, one of the best in the country. He's 10 years older than me. My cousin Chad, my cousin Kyle wrestled. My grandpa was Elias High School, the high school I went to, their first wrestling team ever. So I think more than anything, it's like as a little kid, when you join a sport and you're like, ooh, I like this.
Right.
I want to get really good at this.
Right.
Well, what's the best level of this? Well, I guess to be the best in the world.
Sure.
So 25 years later, I'm at a position where I might be one of the best in the world. I'm at least amongst them at the moment.
You're in the running.
And then, I beat a couple guys like Nika Konchatsky is the guy who won it last year from Georgia. So, maybe
you want to fight against him?
No, I didn't, but he's the best in the world right now. You know what I mean?
But
so,
you fought him.
He was in my bracket. I didn't get to go against him. He's a really cool guy. We hung out actually and talked a lot. But
cool.
But yeah, so to go and be crowned the best in the world, I think that's mostly it. Like I got chills saying it.
Yeah,
to be
it's
like,
beautiful.
Just to be like and to show the kids that I coach now, hey, no, you can do this. Like 100%, you can do this. Like everyone thinks you can only wrestle until college or high school or whatever, or any dream, probably any dream. It's not really just wrestling, but and then they stop and they do something else, which there's nothing wrong with that either. But if you could do it, would you do it? And so now I'm almost just on this mission of, well, how do I become like a career athlete and make it work? And then also do the things that I enjoy about it and kind of take away the things I didn't enjoy about it. And that's my biggest thing now. And hopefully it does good for other people that I coach. Hopefully it does good for my little brother Max, is 9 years old. You know what I mean? And he's showing a lot of promise as a great athlete. My little sister Hannah's 21. My other little sister Isabella's 14. They're both top national level soccer players already.
So you're the eldest of 5. So you have 4 younger siblings
Yep.
that look up to you.
Yep.
And you can be an example for
And
them.
I'm the oldest of like 20-some grandkids on one side and the oldest of 20-some on the other side. And I think
Interesting.
living a life that seems free and possible of most anything, and not that it matters that other people said it wasn't possible, because a lot of people have along the way, but it's kind of like, yeah, it is. You were wrong. It's like it actually is very possible. You just have to, do hopefully most of the right things and get in the right place and be nice and meet the right people and collaborate more than compete. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing I've learned. I assume it will continue to take me to better places, I guess. Is what
you can't predict.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You can't predict exactly.
I think my long term, if I could when I'm like 80, if I could still be in decent enough shape to beat up on young whippersnappers and be like a sifu, like a sensei of the grappling arts. So like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo, Greco, beach, freestyle, folk style, all the stuff.
I love those videos of the 90-year-old Japanese judo guy, this little guy, and all the young guys, and they just say they're getting thrown on their ass.
I want to be that guy.
And the guy doesn't break a sweat.
Yeah, it's like, what's up, young guy? Run at me. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Now, in order to do all this, you need to stay motivated.
Yes.
And motivation is really mysterious. One thing is birth order in psychology. I know I'm named after my grandfather.
Okay.
I'm Gilbert II. And that seeps into you from the moment you're born. You're not just Joe Blow. I'm Gilbert B. Wilshire II.
Yeah.
And his picture sits up there, and I look at him, and it's you being the firstborn of your father, who was the firstborn, who was the wrestler.
Yeah.
The kind of it osmotically kind of seeps into your psyche on one level.
I agree.
So maybe there's some advantages to that, and with the gift comes a responsibility.
Yeah.
But everybody, we all have good days and bad days, right? I know one of the things for me is to surround myself with good people that foster me,
yes.
right? So what do you do on a bad day? You're in a rut, it's winter. You told me last time we spoke that long winter days can get you down. Oh, which brings me another question. Daylight savings time.
Yeah.
When they change that hour, do you feel it? Do you feel better? Do you feel worse?
I feel terrible. I feel better when we spring forward because we get more daylight during the day. You know what I mean? But when we fall backwards, I think it's like 2 weeks, man, until I'm
I'm just adjusting.
Yeah, it's like this is rough. Yeah,
it was a couple weeks.
This has changed
all right,
everything.
All right. So if you're well, I'm going to back this up even further.
Okay.
Talking about motivation. There's some people that are very popular in modern popular culture right now. There's David Goggins, the ultra athlete, world record pull-ups, or
get
world
up,
record.
Bitch.
He just don't say no. He was a special operator. All this kind of stuff. Just seems to have superhuman motivation that carries him. There's another guy named Jocko Willink.
Yeah.
Famous for it. And I had an angel moment. I was flying back from Colorado. I was snowboarding last month. Walking through the hall in Denver Airport, there's Jocko.
There's cool.
Jocko right there. And I didn't want to bother him or anything, but I see a guy go up to him and do the same. Do you mind? And he poses. And I say, this is my shot. So I go up to Jocko. I said, do you mind? He goes, no. So I do the selfie. He's got his fist up.
Gil, want to get on my show?
Right. Well, eventually. I'm just doing baby pocket. He's the big dog, right? But I have my arm around him. The guy's a rock. The guy's as hard as this table, right? I'm going to be that driven to do it. But somehow we have to have some motivation in life to do what we do.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you tap into? By the way, Jocko was very gracious. He didn't give me any cry. I let him go. I only took 30 seconds of his time. And I do hope to meet you sometime, Jocko, in a little longer format. But how do you, Ty, get motivated to do all this training and all this hard work to hopefully at least get a shot at being a world champion?
So I think it's multi-leveled. I think it starts off that I really enjoy. Like I think I thoroughly enjoy wrestling and grappling more than anything else.
So it's not work.
Yeah. So
it's not work.
Most of the time. Most of the time, right? So I would say that's step one. And then it's like, well, okay, you're not as excited about it because you're not going to want to do everything every day, even if you love it, right? So then it's, like you said, the dark winter days, especially beach wrestling. You want to go out in the cold winter when it's sandy. We'll get on the sand when it's cold in winter. Yeah, it's terrible. But how are you going to get better on the sand unless you're on the sand? You know what I mean? So you kind of have to get on the sand.
So you have to suck it up at some level.
Yep. And
there's going to be some pain.
Okay. I don't know. So I don't think that 30's old, but I am 30. And maybe a realization of how much potential do you have? And if you did all the stuff, like what's all the stuff? Like, I don't know, but let's try to figure it out. If you did all the stuff to make yourself the best person you could be, who would that be? And then if you didn't do that, are you robbing people around you of greater possibilities that you just were selfish because you were lazy and you didn't feel good one day? You know what I mean?
So
what if
you're
your dad,
distributing it?
yeah, and it's like, what if your dad,
what
if your dad was lazy one day? What if your great grandpa? What if so my family came to Mid-Mo in like 1836. So what if, they said, I don't want to catch the boat. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know, whatever. So like stuff like that maybe I didn't think about a couple of years ago, that kind of hits me. So I don't really like call myself a bitch like David Goggins, and I get Jocko, but I'm not gonna wake up at 4:30. It's not gonna happen, so I'm gonna stay up till 2:30. You know what I mean? I'd rather get it done then.
But you're getting it done.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
But I see. But it's not. Somehow you're making it not so. Somehow you're getting out of yourself, and this is new.
I do my best.
This is new territory in my understanding here. The light bulbs are going off. When you said it's for other people, so like maybe your younger siblings, maybe the people of your family, maybe of your community, the kids at your academy or what have you. You can find motivation there.
100%. I had this kid, Jace Dumel. I think he's going to Minot State. Just graduated, placed pretty well this year in high school. He was one of the first people to say to me after one of my practice, he's like, I think his last name is Dimmel, actually. Jace said, hey, I've always wanted to be on Team USA and travel the world and represent our country.
Right.
I've never known anyone who did that, and you're doing that, and you went to my high school. That was like, whoa.
And you inspire him.
Yeah, I was like, well, he just, and it's like you kind of think.
Warms your heart.
I coach like 100, 150 people a week between the rooms and personal training and whatever, and but hearing that is like, oh man, okay, it's not just the coaching. So I was just coaching. I'm not on Team USA doing this, right? So without doing the competing and the coaching, there's something not quite there, and I'm young enough and viable enough, and honestly, I feel like I'm stronger, faster, better than I've ever been over the last couple months, which was new.
You can peak in your mid-30s, man.
I very much think so.
Absolutely.
I felt the last 2 months significant changes in technique, in like application, and like maybe even some strength metrics, which I wasn't necessarily training as hard. That I was like, whoa, I just did a pull up with 135 pounds around my waist. I've never done that before. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute, you can do a pull up.
I can do
with added weight.
I've been able to do like 100 pounds around my waist for a couple of reps for a couple of years, but I've never tried 3 plates. And I saw someone else do it, and I was like, let's give this a shot.
I can do that, motherfucker.
I was like, let's give this a shot. I think I got like 1, and then like went for another one, and the other one didn't happen. But I was like, hey man,
you did 1.
That's like the bar.
That's personal record,
plates.
man.
You know what I mean? That's new. Yeah. Any PR in your life?
Yeah.
When you think that, when most people generally think that you're kind of done progressing with an athletic sense, I'm like, proving you wrong. So this is good stuff. And like my pistol squats, like my 1-foot squats are better than they've ever been before.
I can't even do those. I can't even do one. But it's something to work forward to. So what are you eating right now? Just basic food. I assume you're eating whole food, real foods, natural food.
Yeah.
Just
I'll give you the overview.
Give me an idea. What are you eating?
I'll wake up. I'll have water, Greek yogurt with some honey and blueberries.
Of course, Greek.
Yeah, of course. And then I'll do like a cup of coffee with like totally sugar and cream, like in the morning.
Well, you can have sugar.
I was gonna say,
have sugar.
Yeah, especially because I'm getting ready to go do something. Right.
Yeah.
I think if I need energy, I put energy in. If I need recovery, I put protein in. Right. So I put carbs, fats more so whenever I need to go do something, and less so if I'm done with things for the day. I think that makes sense. And then you have a better fat burning window at the end of the day. So wake up, Greek yogurt, fruit, honey, coffee, cream, workout. After I work out, protein with whey, hemp, and collagen protein.
Like a shake?
Yeah, I pretty much just do water.
Make a shake?
But yeah, just water
that little shaker
and just
thing
shake it up. Yeah.
Okay.
I like using mason jars because it's just reusable and like simpler. Yeah, and there's no plastic.
So you like whey protein?
Yeah, I can't overdo it. I notice it'll bloat me out. But if I do like
you can only do so many grams, otherwise you're passing some bad gas.
Totally. And the hemp protein, I found one that tastes pretty good. That seems to balance it out. pretty well, and I can up that protein amount without being as irritated with my stomach. And then collagen, ton of good studies on collagen protein, like being very beneficial.
That's the actual amino acids in the right ratios of a mammal.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been adding that. That's a newer thing.
Any egg proteins? Those don't mix as well, do they?
Eggs. I was gonna say the next
eggs.
Yeah, I'll do the next meal. So I go dairy and I also divide what proteins I do throughout the day. So I go dairy in the morning, eggs post workout with some whey, and then I'll do like eggs with some vegetable, some green.
Any experience with pea proteins? That's all the rage right now.
So
the pea protein.
It seems to be good. I would say, man, if your stomach really can't handle any whey, then maybe that's a good choice. But or any other things. The one negative with all the plant proteins is that the amino acid ratio
they're wrong.
Isn't optimal. So you're not actually getting, say, 20 grams,
right?
You're getting maybe 12 because I think with pea, and I may not be exactly correct, but I think pea is short on lysine. And because it's so short on lysine, you're only getting X. But if you were to do pea protein mixed with, say, an animal protein, now I think it's the DIAA score, the protein absorption in your stomach. It goes up because you mixed it with a protein that had enough extra lysine or valine or whatever it may need.
Yeah, I don't know about the branch chains and all that kind of stuff.
I just learned about this recently. I was like, oh, okay, this is good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
It's dairy, eggs, fish, poultry, red meats. Those crush and are almost fully absorbable. They score over 100 on the absorption scale. Gotcha. Anything that isn't that scores sub 100. So then then you go into like wheat and stuff, which is like 40s, which you're not getting any of it. But yeah.
Right. And it's just a compliment if you're vegetarian. Now, this is something that looms over every strength sport, speed sport, and that's performance-enhancing drugs.
Yes.
Is beach wrestling tested? Do they have policies on performance-enhancing drugs, and what are they? So
it's integrated with the International Olympic Committee.
Okay.
It is the exact same rule set and testing that all other Olympic athletes have.
That's good.
And through the exact same company. Very simple. So I think that's a big part of it being with United World Wrestling and then the ANOC Games being the International Olympic Committee. I think that's a big part of it, which is a super positive thing.
So can you be random tested? Can somebody just knock on your door and test you? As
probably.
If you were,
that's a good question. I don't know.
You're probably not a big enough name yet.
I was going to say, I don't know. I know in the NCAA they can, and I just assumed probably forever they could with whatever I'm doing is kind of the way I kind of run about it.
So the answer is it's Olympic rules.
Yeah.
Steroids out. Probably growth hormone is
probably out. Probably most PEDs are out.
And if you had to take a steroid or something short term, or
it would be through your doctor.
It would be through your doctor. And you have documentation. It would be a short course.
Or like if you get injured, any painkiller or like any mental health drug or whatever else.
Good.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So there shouldn't be any significant cheating in this field.
It doesn't seem so. In a lot of the other countries, their athletes compete on or attempt to compete on the freestyle and the Greco teams and everything else. And so there's a lot of integration of sport, I think, that ends up happening. So yeah, it doesn't seem it's like the same as, say, like a mid-level grappling or MMA entity where obviously the funds aren't available to do the testing necessary for those types of standards. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear this because, as a fertility doctor, I see guys who are terribly infertile from performance enhancing drugs.
I knew where you were going with that.
Yeah, you know it. You know what I do. And
it just seems so silly to me.
But I had a guy recently, and he wasn't truthful.
Duh.
He wasn't truthful. He had no sperm, and he's been using them since he was a teenager.
Probably.
But think of it. You feel great. You've got good gains. You're looking good. But then you go to stop.
Yeah.
And you fall apart. It's like how and now your nuts are this big. You got no sperm. You feel like crap.
Why would you want small nuts?
Let's say, we'll take some HCG for that. I'll take some Clomid for that. And,
no.
But realize you got
started.
Plates,
zinc, magnesium, just like any addiction, man. You get
habituated to it, and getting off of anabolic steroids is terribly difficult. Because you feel like crap, you get fat, you get soft. It's really tough to get off of these things. So I appreciate that bodybuilders need to take them to look like they do. I would rather they be more natural, not be so horrendously huge and freaky. Guys have gotten so big in Mr. Olympia that they now have, you probably know this, they have a classic physique.
Yep.
Now they judge you by
taken over.
By what you really should look like.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of taken over, it feels like.
I think those guys use gear as well, but not to such extreme degree as the freaky guys now.
There's probably, I don't know enough and I don't know much about that world, but there's probably some medical application that would be beneficial at some point for someone, I would assume.
Yeah, short-term course for healing.
Yeah, right.
But you get over an injury or an illness or something. But the chronic. And another thing, while I'm on the subject, I mean, every year these bodybuilders die in huge numbers. I mean, guys, heart attacks, kidney failure, all this stuff. Guys, amputations. I know guys that I grew up with, looking up, that most of them are dead.
I was gonna say we had some neighbors out near Loethen, I think, that at my grandparents' place. That kind of the same deal. I know. No one my age, but I know some people about 10 years older, and I'm pretty young. You know what I mean? That's not good.
Yeah. So, we've covered motivation, we've covered diet. Supplements, we talked about protein. Any other supplements that Ty uses? Are there minerals or vitamins without using name brands? Are there any categories of supplements that you find helpful?
So, I definitely think magnesium most humans are low on, right, and that's true. And that's not just from a hydration perspective, but a recovery perspective. So adding a magnesium supplement specifically at night seems to really help me. I've noticed a lot better muscle recovery. I also mix my creatine in then.
So you take some creatine.
Yep. So mostly I would say amino acids. I also like L-citrulline malate as a pre-workout. It kind of helps as a vasodilator and kind of increases nitric oxide production.
Okay.
So I like that. It kind of gives a pump without a lot of the racy stimulant stuff that's in most of the pre-workouts. I like coffee for the stimulant, and then I like L-citrulline malate with L-ornithine. And then I'm the little Mio squirt stuff, just for taste, because I get the unflavored.
So you're not taking ephedrine or any other super speedy stuff.
I notice with higher stim, I feel like it hurts my aerobic capacity and my muscular endurance, and I feel my lactic acid builds up more quickly. And I was I don't think this is beneficial, and I personally don't like being that much. I like coffee's good.
Coffee's, you know what I mean?
Good. Whatever, something low key.
Coffee's good.
Tea, green tea, something like that, but nothing that's too crazy. I feel like that kind of ends up throwing me off. So that's pre, and then intra. I don't know, Gatorade or I saw this. Put a little salt in your pre-workout, just a pinch, and that should help with your hydration during the lift. So I've been doing that lately, and that seems to be doing well. Yeah.
I know they used to push salt pills and stuff when I was running cross country.
Too much,
probably too much.
Yeah.
Probably too much. Now, are you one of these people that carries a jug of water with him everywhere he goes? You know where I'm going with this.
I know what you're going. So a lot of that I think comes from BCAAs, but I think a lot of the science on BCAAs is you can take any time and it should work relatively the same. And that's valine, leucine, and isoleucine, and it's kind of the same principle.
BCAA, branched chain amino acids, you're saying. Now, I'm not talking about a supplement in the jug.
Oh, I know what you're saying, the milk jug.
The milk jug of a watery thing.
I just don't know if it has to be that big. Why can't you just
how about drink when you're thirsty?
I just refill these. Yeah, I just drink when I'm thirsty.
Right, drink when you're thirsty.
I think that's a good idea.
And I'm just going to jump in here. There's no data that you should drink 60 or 100 million ounces of water every day. Zero data that I'm aware of, right? There's zero data that fiber is good for you, by the way. Funny. Unless you have got a special type of high blood pressure, salt is not bad for you, right? You don't have to eat breakfast. You don't have to eat 6 meals a day. I could go on. Cholesterol is good for you. Fat is good for you.
That's where I was going to go next.
Sunlight is good for you.
Super good, yeah.
Sunlight, you got to have
the most important thing.
Sun on your eyeballs and all this stuff. And I hope to interview an expert on that.
Vitamin D in the day and then creates melatonin at night.
Right, and it's more than just vitamin D. It's all this. So you get out in the sun too.
Oh yeah, daily. I think the first almost the first thing I do. Actually, the first thing I do is I wake up, I feed my cat Pongo because he usually wakes me up. That's probably why I wake up at 8. He wakes me up about 7:45, and I'm like try to ignore him for about 15 minutes, and then he's like, "No, you gotta feed me."
That's nicer than an assault from
an alarm clock. Yeah, and then I'll go feed him, and then I have a nice balcony, and I open up the balcony door, and me and him both go outside and kind of like start our day. So that's probably the first thing I do is get outside, get a little sunlight on.
Get a little sunlight on you.
And then back to supplements, magnesium,
please,
and then zinc. I think zinc has a lot of benefit. Obviously, with like immune support and everything else, and I think with a lot of stuff that's happened, people know that. But there's also a lot of good science and just natural testosterone and hormone help with it. Like high amounts of zinc and magnesium seem to support higher levels of testosterone. So like if most people probably would be interested in that.
Sure.
Right? Sure. I take zinc and magnesium every night, take creatine every day, L-ornithine, L-citrulline malate for a pre-workout, and then I like rhodiola.
What is that?
So it's a natural herb. It's like a little plant. It works. A lot of people say they get energy from it. You do, but it works by lowering your cortisol and your homocysteine levels. So you do get energy.
Those are good things.
But it's more like, because it's an adaptogen, it's more like your natural energy comes through instead of being bogged down by these stress hormones.
I know nothing about it. I will look it up.
And it's relatively low cost and simple to get most places. I mean, Amazon, you know what I mean?
And it doesn't mess up your drug test. There's nothing untoward in it.
I've been taking rhodiola on and off since like high school actually, and I've been through drug tests through high school, through college, through now, through everything. Yeah, never had an issue. A lot of people have a lot of benefit with ashwagandha. That never jived with me personally. You know what I mean?
I've heard of it. Nothing.
Yeah, it seems to, like everything, maybe have a positive, maybe have a negative for everyone. I don't know if I ever noticed anything, so I was like, okay, just maybe, superfluous for myself. Yeah, but yeah, I like rhodiola. That seems to be good.
Well, I'm glad for you. You're not doing performance-enhancing drugs because I think you mentioned that you have a fiance. Is that true? Maybe a female partner.
So I had a fiance.
Oh, I didn't mean to stir up.
No, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
Sensitive here.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Where I wanted to go is that I assume you want to have kids someday.
I do want to have kids someday, so we can definitely. That's 100% on the money.
So I don't want to poke you in the eye about something like that, but I'm just glad you're probably healthy. Sounds to me like you should be both successful and fertile when it matters.
Yes.
When the time comes.
Yes.
Good. I love it. I'm full. You don't even get me started.
I was gonna say I don't have small nuts, so that's nice. You know
what I mean?
Good for you. Yeah, I was gonna say
Good for you.
Yeah. So yeah, not a huge deal, but yeah, we can keep moving. Yeah, nothing.
I am going to keep moving. And we've covered the things I really wanted to cover, so I'm really happy we've had you back again. But one other thing that you do is you work with kids.
Yes.
Obviously, your motivation, you teach technique and wrestling and maybe some other martial arts and too. What are the things that you have found make you a successful coach and teacher and mentor for kids?
They're just little humans.
They are just little humans.
They're not that different than adults.
Love it.
And the second, and obviously they need direction, right? They have less experience, so they know less. That's it. But when it comes to responsibility and decision making and putting the onus on them to make the decision, and then maybe you gotta like coax them a direction, perhaps. You know what I mean? That seems to be the biggest thing that I've noticed.
So you give them agency.
So yes,
that's the word I think.
Agency
is agency.
Perfect. Agency. So a good example is when a little kid in practice doesn't feel good or hurt his arm or whatever. Bigger. If it's big, they're obviously out. But like say something small, or doesn't feel upset stomach, they'll come up to the teacher, the coach, whomever, and go, "My belly hurts," and look at you. Because they're trained to go, "Oh, your belly hurts, so do A, B, C," or "Oh, your belly doesn't really hurt, go back," or "Oh, go ahead, go sit out." So what I go is, they say, "Oh, my belly hurts." I go, "Okay, well, what does that mean? Can you continue to wrestle? Are you saying your stomach hurts so much that you need to sit out for a little bit? Are you saying you may need to use the restroom?"
Love it.
I was like, what do you think?
So they're reasoning and using some logic.
Yeah. And I always give them the choice. And if they say, it hurt, my stomach hurts, my arm hurts, I need to sit out. Even if maybe I think, probably not, I'm going to let them sit out, let them have that choice, and I'll come back a minute or two later, whatever. Usually we do sets of 2 to 3 minutes. I'll just like give a set, you know what I mean? 3 minutes, and I'll go, hey, Timmy, do you think you can wrestle, or is it too bad? Or what's going on? And they'll say yes or no, and they'll figure it out on their own. Was this something I need to continue to sit out for because I'm injured, right? Or is this something I'm tough. It's not that bad, or it hurt for a second, but now it's better.
Now you've developed judgment.
Yeah.
You've helped them develop judgment.
So something that happened to me, and we kind of talked about it earlier, I'm relatively intuitive with my training and in tune with my body. I've had a couple of coaches that, man, I was injured. And I told them I was injured. And the doctors maybe told them I was injured. Doesn't matter.
They didn't want to hear it.
It's like, I don't know what else to tell you. And that, several instances, very much negatively hurt my career and very much negatively affected the way I feel about the sport. It's something I love. And it was like this dude who had terrible judgment, who just happened to be, hierarchically ahead of me, tells me what to do, and he's incorrect. It's like, well, I got hand surgery because I broke my hand.
You do.
I've got two of them.
Show this to the camera. Look at this.
So this first one,
some serious stuff there.
This first one, this fourth metacarpal split in two. Man, the first 5 minutes of practice, I hit down, I think like this, kind of like on a down block, which is like blocking a shot without going all the way to the ground. And I felt something bad happen.
Something was wrong.
And I'm relatively tough, so I'm not just going to go like sit out. And I'm like, hey, this is not good. And they're like, you're fine. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Just dumb 15-year-old. Like, okay. It's just like all the kids that I coach that go to me. You know what I mean? And so that's a big part of it. It's like, no, you got to really speak up for yourself because sometimes adults don't know what's going on with you. So learn how to speak for yourself early. And at the end of that practice, my hand was bigger than an orange.
You had internal compartment bleeding.
I was so mad because I couldn't wrestle, and kids that I was beating would touch my hand, and I'd freak out. You know what I mean? It was just, then it made me act not good in practice, and it's just, and then, you're fine to the next day at the orthopedic surgeon. Hey, you're going to have surgery. You're going to be out for 6 weeks. And this is actually a pretty bad break. And so I was like, so I was right. And it was worse than I even thought. So this, and that the first time I tore my LCL, my coach,
is that a knee?
My coach there, not to throw anyone under the bus, my coach there.
There's no names.
Yeah, exactly. Was like, no, you're going to wrestle. And I'm like, my trainer said I shouldn't wrestle. The doctor said I shouldn't wrestle. They also said it's not so serious that I have to get surgery or anything, but it could be because it's a grade 2, it's a partial tear, and the LCL doesn't have a good blood supply. So a grade 3, a full tear is not going to heal. That's surgery needed. So let's not do this and let's sit out for a couple of weeks. No, we need you. And then I go out and I hurt it more. And then I'm out longer. And then that leads to a knee surgery a year later. And it's like, well, that was dumb. Like I could have saved so much hassle for myself if this one person wouldn't have done something that he shouldn't have done. And, you know what I mean?
When you just said they're little humans, I also saw the flip. We're just big kids.
That's it. That's it. There's nothing different.
So your coaches were using an infantile mentality to take the treats.
We got to go win every duel no matter what. It's well, you may only have me for X amount of time. And I went to a different school after that. But I have myself my entire life. My career is longer than 4 years in college. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So, like, this is not a good choice. And that's a big flip of where I am now too, is I control my training, period. I do not let anyone else control my training, which it also probably comes that I got high level education and professional coach and trainer for other people.
Sure.
So hopefully I can do it back with myself well. I still have coaches. I still have a team. I still have people I take advice from. I still have people that I definitely believe have maybe more knowledge than me in certain areas, and I take those.
You listen to your body.
But I have to listen to me first and last, because otherwise there's no feasible way anyone knows more about what's going on than me with myself. You know what I mean? There's no way.
I think that's profoundly important.
Yes, and then the fine line is you can't make an excuse for yourself when you're feeling bad, and that's like that's the really like, okay, do I actually need a day off, or maybe this should be a moderate workout instead of a day off? You know what I mean? Or like, how do you? And then we went back to earlier, the motivation and having good people around you. If I really don't want to do something, but I probably should do something, and I reach out to, say, my friend Sage or anyone that I train, that maybe I'm like, hey man, want to come like train with me because I need to do something that I really enjoy being around. Then I'll enjoy that training, even if it's intense or not intense. I went and I did something, and this was good, and we got a little bit better today, and then it ends up working well.
Yeah, I've heard that thing. What is it? It's mood follows action. And if you can I find this, if I grab one of my boys, get to the gym, even if I don't want to go. Yeah. If I'm not interested, no. Like if I need sleep or I'm sick, of course, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. But if I am able to, and I can get my ass to that door of the gym or into the or onto the bike or onto the snowboard or something, generally we get something good accomplished. Yeah. And generally you'd sleep better and all the other good things happen.
You and your boys genuinely look like you have a good time when you lift.
Oh, I love doing
that's
athletic
really cool
things together. I can, impart things that I've learned. I learned, when I'm talking to my boy, I hear my daddy telling me,
"Hey, little Gil, this is that's cool. Oh, that's cool."
And that's part of that, part of the circle of life and the chain. That we're blessed to be part of, aren't we?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, is there anything else, Ty, that's going on right now that you want to talk about? We've hit the highlights of what I wanted to talk about.
Yes. I think it feels like there's so much every day. It's very much focused on competing internationally at the world level for beach wrestling, for Team USA. It's also building my business, Get Thai Fit. It's also running camps and clinics around the country, whether it be wrestling, grappling, jiu-jitsu, MMA. I think I'm going to do maybe a beach wrestling 1 or 2 coming up, and we'll put that stuff out hopefully here soon. And then I have a filmmaker, and with A Piece of You Productions, and we're building out a whole bunch of things. Hopefully the long format would be like a whole doc on this process and this year. And
this would be a great story to document on film. I think
so, and we've been shooting a lot. We're also putting out more medium format and like short format stuff as well through different maybe YouTube, Instagram, whatnot.
Right.
And he's a real professional, and everything we've shot is like, whoa, this is really cool.
Well, that's great. Talk about surrounding ourselves with good people.
Yes.
You have a good team to document this, and this can be a wonderful journey.
Yes, I think so. And I think it's very. It's super surreal. I kind of wake up and I'm just like, that's the other thing for motivation. When you're like, man, I'm doing the thing that I said I wanted to do if I could do something. It's like, well, I don't know how to be not happy now, even if it's not a good day. It's like, well, it's still kind of a good day. You know what I mean? I was like, for real. Like, let's think about this right now. I get to wake up relatively when I want. I get to pretty much eat what I want, hang out with who I want, do what I want. This is pretty cool.
And not to take the shine off it, but be prepared for imposter syndrome. You're going to be in the middle of it. You're going to be going,
oh, man.
Am I really doing this? Can this be me? Can this actually be happening?
That's a big part of it.
That can happen in the middle of surgery.
Oh, I believe it.
I'm in surgery. I'm going,
oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Are these my hands? Am I actually doing it?
Is that the right
Am I
thing?
doing it?
Yeah.
Right. And then what you do, you take a breath and say, I've done the training. I am here. Look at all the people that supported me. I do deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I am one of the best in the world, damn it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just get back on, you refocus.
It's like, okay,
and you go ahead. Just preparing you for those moments. They're going to happen.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That always hits like, because I'm going, right?
Yeah.
It'll hit while I'm flying to South America.
Right, there you are.
Because everything slows down. I'm not gonna have Wi-Fi on the airplane, even if you pay for it. It seems like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you're gonna go take a nap, wake up, have like 5 hours left to fly, and you go, what am I doing right now?
I'm gonna wake
Like,
up in
for
a different
real?
hemisphere.
Like, what? Yeah.
To fight some badass
Brazilian.
Brazilian who's been doing
whatever.
jiu-jitsu on a little mat since he was 2.
Yeah, Azerbaijani or whatever.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. It's man. That's real.
Yeah, so it's going to be some of these, buddy, but they're going to continue up.
I think so.
And God willing, good things are going to happen, Ty.
I think so.
What a pleasure it is talking to you again. I look forward to staying in
Thank you,
touch.
Gil.
And maybe we can have a third interview in the coming
I think we're
years.
just going to be friends, and this is probably going to happen a lot.
What a pleasure, Ty. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much, Gil. Have a great day.